Giselle didn't recover for some time after I managed to get her inside. Unsure what else I could do for her, I had her sit before the fireplace and wait in silence as she sobbed. I had no idea what one was supposed to say to someone who was crying. Was it normal to offer them a warm drink? I didn't know. I did know I need to reflect on the things she had said outside and try to make sense of them. And from there, calm myself down and prepare for the conversation we were to have, as unpleasant as I was sure it would be. A considerable amount of time later, Giselle's sobbing drew to a stop, and oppressive silence stepping in to take its place. She has no clothes, though. You know, it's interesting, because I guess you got the clothes from the village. At least there's that, you know, anyway. At least she has new clothes, at least it's not dirty clothes. She still has, they still put her face in the dirty water, though. I'm just wondering if she's gonna get sick from that. That's all I'm thinking about. You know, it's not very hygienic. People have died, you know? Actually, like literally, if, somehow you get in contact with poop, you know? It's such a funny thing to think about, but it is actually quite dangerous, especially in these times. At least, you know, in the year they're living in, where sanitation is not exactly very high on the priority list. You can get like actual like death parasites. You could die from that sort of thing, you know? Anyway. For far longer than was comfortable, the only sound we heard was the gentle crackling of the fire. I had to say something. I knew that, but what I didn't know was how to begin. I knew nothing about having an honest face-to-face discussion with someone about the things we were thinking and feeling. But that didn't change anything. I had to do it. Even if down that road lay truths I wouldn't be happier not seeing. Giselle. Could you please tell me what you did at... No. What was done to you at my family's home? How you ended up coming to this mansion and what happened after you left? I would like to know everything from start to finish. Will you believe what I tell you? You never so much as gave me the time of day before. And I very much doubt you will find what I have to say agreeable. Do you still believe me even then? Believe my word, a stranger's word, or your family or the people of the village? I cannot yet say. I must hear what you have to say to make that decision. I suppose that might be better than you saying you believe me unconditionally. Alright, I'll tell you everything. Just know that nothing I say is a lie. Understood. Giselle methodically, I can say that word, methodically recounted her tale for me. She told me of how she accepted an offer from the Belinkers to work as an abigail to earn money for her family, or of how my father, Antonin, had other plans for her, or the things he did to her. She spoke dryly, simply putting words to each event, one after the other. I'd already seen how she felt deep down, though. I'd heard her pained screams, which were undoubtedly genuine. I didn't think she was trying to deceive me. That was the sound of an old wound being torn open. Even I could see that. Or perhaps my own experiences were what allowed me to see it. Regardless, I realized too late. I should have seen it sooner. She described it all mechanically to remain detached from what had happened to her, to protect herself. Of that I had no doubts. Still, the things she had told me were almost unbearable, and I had a difficult time accepting them. What was I supposed to do when I learned my father was a rapist? You know, I wonder how that is seen in 1099, you know? I mean, I gotta be honest, like, women's rights weren't really a thing back then, so... I don't know. How was I supposed to react to that revelation? What was I supposed to think about the fact that his blood flowed through me? I repulsed myself. Do you want all the details? What do you mean? Of the wounds he gave me, I still have scars from the things he did. If you don't believe me, I can show them to you. No, that won't be necessary. I see. That's a relief. I don't think I could have handled that right now. I hadn't turned down her offer for her sake. I only did so because I didn't think I could take it anymore. I averted my eyes to protect myself. Why had I taken my mother's word, brushing aside everything Giselle had said and done? I knew good and well my mother was no longer in her right mind, But why had I thought her letter the truth? Why had I been unable to think rationally? There were, I believe, several factors. My childhood, my past, the witch's whispers, and above all, my own character, consumed with distrust for everything. I had to face it now, to open my eyes once more, to look at everything I had pretended away until now. I was not completely blameless for suffering after all. Please, continue if you will. I left off at the point where the mistress discovered what was happening, I believe. I was sent to this mansion to atone for my sins. Sins that she didn't even commit. It was decided I would be sent here rather than be executed, which is what the mistress wanted. At first I assumed it would be essentially a private prison. But in the carriage on the way here I was given a letter. A letter? From whom? He didn't say, but your father was the one who ordered me here, so I guess it was him. The letter was very concise, simply explaining that there was someone already there. The Bellingers' youngest child. It didn't go into more detail than that, but it did ask me to look after you. Do you still have the letter? I don't. Coachman took it back after I was finished. Thinking back on it now, that was rather strange of him to do. It was just a harmless letter. It was anything but. What? It was my father who wrote that letter. He believes me to be dead, so he would have sincerely thought he was banishing you to an empty house in a remote forest. The writer couldn't risk leaving anything that might suggest I was still alive. And who? My brother, I believe. Either Didier or George's, but I would guess Didier. Your brother? Why would he? I do not know. I can't imagine why he would write such a letter, or why he would want to tell you about me. I don't believe he had any ill intentions, at least. I mean, he asked me to look after you. That makes it sound like he's concerned about you. Why doesn't he stay in contact? Why does he never respond to my letters? It's a bit late to suddenly start being concerned. No, never mind that now. Please tell me the rest. Alright. Giselle resumed her story from the day she fled the mansion, terrified by my behavior. She seemed to be putting a bit more emotion in her tone of voice now, perhaps because she could see I was more interested in this part. There's a deep sadness on her face as she described that night, in the rain, listening to the thunder, when she gave up on living. It was funny actually. It's funny, I remember in the third story about Jacopo, Maria even said, if only we just sat down and talked about everything, the misunderstandings would be gone, and that's exactly what we're doing, I guess, right now. That could only mean more conflict in the future, though. More tragedy, because obviously we can't just conclude now, More things are gonna happen that are gonna be bad. Anyway, there was deep sadness in face that night in the rain, listening to fun, she gave up living, and I knew I had caused it. He then told me of the time she spent in a nearby village. How at first life had seemed wonderful, but in time had come crumbling down. Naturally, she wouldn't be here to tell me this if nothing had happened there. Once she was through with her tale, Giselle let out a long, heavy sigh, as though she'd been holding it in for some time. I thought I could hear just a faint trembling in the air as she exhaled. That is everything. Do you believe me? If you don't, or you still think I'm deceiving you, then I won't argue with you. That's fine. If that's the case, please just kill me. Why didn't you tell me this sooner? Why didn't you just tell me sooner? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Why didn't you just tell me sooner? I know I wasn't very opening to anything you said, but if that day, when I found you in my room, you had told me I was mistaken, that the sin belonged to my father, it might not have turned out like this. The knife. What? You were holding a knife. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Even if because I think what she's saying is that she was traumatized by the knife. That's why she couldn't say anything. But also, just in general, even if she didn't have trauma about a knife, it's still pretty rude to point a knife at somebody. They're not gonna be able to tell you everything if you just threaten them, At least not rationally, anyway. Can't handle blades anymore. Ever since what happened, they scared me to death. Just the sight of one in someone's hand, and I started thinking they're gonna use it on me. Can't help it. I start shaking uncontrollably, growing faint of breath. The world goes white. I can't even form words. There's nothing I can do. Now I finally see. She was grimacing in pain. The day the package arrived when you knocked my hand away. Because I was scared. It was remind me of that time. You know, just in general though, you will be scared of just a man just randomly just grab your shoulders and like squeeze very hard for no reason. I mean, that would be kind of scary anyway, right? But I would say. I'd assume she was simply jumpy from a guilty conscience. I felt nauseous realizing I'd been pouring a constant stream of salt onto her unmendable wounds. It was very salty. What a damn fool I was. Why did you get so upset at me? Why did you have to point a knife at me? I didn't want you snooping. If you meant to sell information about me, I thought I had to do anything in my power to stop you. I'm still not convinced it was necessary. Me neither. Ugh. I was unarmed. I couldn't fight back. You didn't need a knife. I have nothing left anymore, so I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. You're a jerk. Yep. Baka. What you did was inexcusable. You may not have hurt me physically, but you still hurt me. Humans are frail creatures. They wound easily. Apologize. What? Apologize to me. I said apologize. I'm sorry. Again, put your heart into it. Convince me you mean it. I'm sorry. Again, once more, get down on your knees and shout it from your gut. I'm so very sorry. Was that a laugh? Jeez, you're such a strange man. Strange. You told me to do it. Nothing's going like I thought it would. I figured even if we talked, you would just deny everything I said. I didn't think you would actually listen to me. But you did. You listened and you looked quite distressed by what you heard. Looked distressed? Oh yes, you sure did. I wish I had a mirror to show you. I'm sure you didn't want to believe what I said, but you didn't once accuse me of lying. You faced up to the truth and you apologized. I seem to have the wrong impression of you as well. I didn't try to see you for who you were, instead letting myself believe you were someone to be afraid of. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't like you very much. The feeling was mutual. But for some reason, I don't feel that way now. Is it guilt? I need to apologize to you too. Apologize for what? I let the villagers hear. I almost sold my soul to the devil. I tried to sell you out to save myself. And for that, I'm truly sorry. I don't understand. What? Do I need to get down on my knees too? No. That's not what I meant. The blame falls on the village for falsely accusing you of stealing. You were a convenient scapegoat for the real thieves. They planned to take advantage of you from the start. But Amity was probably in on it as well. To get back at you for rejecting his proposal. It really is, you know? It's that like, you know, it's like the nice guy trope. Not trope, like, I don't know what you call it, but like, the nice guy, quote unquote. It really was just like, oh, I saved you, but only if you marry me, you know? Only if you know, if I get something in return. I'm only doing this nice thing so I get something back, right? But, you know. So obviously, Amity, you know. Man, it's like, I don't know, it's like every single guy in this game is like bad in some way. I think the game is telling you something, you know? The game is like, there's a theme here, is all I'm saying. Plus, giving the village a single target to let all their frustrations on would in a way help unify them. He used you to meet that end. In order to escape from the trap, you told them about me. But this was after I had threatened you, causing you to flee from this place. You have nothing to apologize for. Still, I still feel really bad about it. So, I'm sorry anyway. You were unexpectedly stubborn. But now we both apologize to each other, we can call everything square. 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 We were both in the wrong. So we apologized and we forgave each other. She gave a little smile, but All I could do was stare at her, brow furrowed in perplexity, like I was looking at some bizarre fantasyland creature. The weight of our crimes were not equal. What I had done to her was so very much worse. Furthermore, I am Adnan's son. His blood flows through me. Can you honestly say you don't find me revolting? That you're willing to forgive me for that? I didn't think I would be able to. If I were her, my grudge would extend to all of my family, everyone I had ever come in contact with. I can. Although, you don't need forgiveness for being his son. Being related to someone doesn't make you responsible for their sins. It wouldn't be fair to blame you for that. Which is interesting. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, but in the context of, obviously, nobility, blood was actually quite a big thing, legally speaking. Like, if you related to someone, it would mean actual power and influence back in the day. I mean, now we know, these days, at least hopefully anyway, blood doesn't really mean anything, DNA and all that. Ironically, our DNA, like, I think the way, I could be wrong, this is just something I've learned, maybe there could be more to it, like I might be misrepresenting it, but our DNA, really, our relation to each other, is very random, actually. We could be like 99% related to the person from someone all across the entire world compared to someone right next to us. So actually, like, blood and DNA and like stuff like that, it's all like skin deep, I guess. In terms of actual raw science, we're all related as just human beings. That's the idea anyway. It really isn't as I guess clean cut, as someone being related to you by blood. That means nothing, actually. Very little, at least physically anyway. Obviously there's also the fact that you grow up in a household, and your environment molds you into a particular type of person as well, and the people you interact with, definitely. But actual, just like literal, like blood, doesn't mean anything usually. Anyway, at least that's what I've heard. I could be wrong. Definitely, like, a scientist could explain that much better than me, because I don't know. That's what I've learned in like a class one day. That's what I distinctly remember. But anyway, it wouldn't be fair to blame you for that. You're curious. What? Curious about what? No, not that curious. You're a strange creature. I'm human, Yes, I know you're human. You're making me lightheaded. Is it a medical emergency? That's quite a leap in logic. I was at my lowest just a little bit ago, and now I'm laughing again. It's odd. I never expected I would recover at all. I was just as surprised as her. She had been through hell, and she had more than enough reason to despise me, to shower me with vitriol, but instead she was smiling. And even more unexpected was the fact that I felt relieved to see it. Well, things are looking up again, and what's happened before, though. When there is hope, there's always despair, it seems, in this game. Anytime things are going well, that's when bad things are going to happen. Especially in this game. I really truly wish I got to know him sooner. Yes, I have fled from the mansion in fear of him, but maybe if I had just a little more courage. I don't know about that. Enough to tell him the truth. Maybe he would have listened. I let my initial impression of him solidify too quickly. I convinced myself he was insensitive and perpetually expressionless, save for the Arctic stare. But the man standing before me did experience sadness, pain, and distress, with the verities he appeared to, from where I was standing. Michelle was just like me, an ordinary person. That said, there was still plenty I don't know. I was still lacking explanations for much of his behavior. Would you mind telling me about yourself now? I'd like to get to know you better. What are you doing here in this mansion all alone? Why do you call yourself cursed? I told you everything. It's only fair you do the same. I have no interest in using your information for anything. I have no reason to. Or are you going to keep pushing the master and servant line? Do you still think I have no need to know? Quiet. For the love of God, stop talking already. You always pick the worst time. What? Excuse me, what do you mean I always pick the worst time? No, I wasn't. Unbelievable. Just when I was starting to think you might actually be a decent human being. Then you go and spout this. No, Giselle. I wasn't talking to you. Who else could it have been? I was, talking to... You know... I have a condition that forces me to vocalize objections to my own thoughts. You know, that's about as convincing as my allergic to people excuse. Sorry. Weirdo. What crosses did he bear? What secrets did he keep? Maybe the truth was far beyond my reckoning. And if it was, even if he did, please, tell me everything. No matter what you say, I won't doubt your words. I will trust you. I'm sure I can accept everything you say. Please, if you don't put it into words, I have nothing to work with. Okay. Where should I start, though? How about the curse, then? Are you actually cursed? That's a difficult question. I cannot, for example, take someone's life with my curse, nor can I bring about disaster. I don't have any magical powers like that. So what you said outside was a bluff, then? It was just a way to chase the villagers away. Well, you certainly put a convincing performance. So you can't actually curse anyone, huh? Good to know. Stab, take furniture, sell gold, go back to family, bunch of money, live somewhere else away from nobility, make a new life, and, just do that. It's easy. Anyway. Regardless, I am human. Nothing more, nothing less. At least I consider myself one. Others would disagree, and the reason for that has to do with my body. Your skin, hair, and eye color, right? Right. I mean, this is very similar to the white-haired girl, At least in the other stories. Assuming they weren't fabricated as well. I mean, as far as I know, the fourth story was fabricated. I don't know if the first, second, and third one was, but, it's similar to her, right? The fact that everyone just assumes they're a witch, but it's just because they have, weird hair color. Which is ironically very, common in anime. You know how in anime, white hair, pink hair, red hair, blue hair, it's just normal. I guess not so much in this story, though. Obviously, it's supposed to be weird. That's why everyone assumes he has a curse, I guess. I don't know. Seeing Michelle. I want to say Marco, but it's Michelle, I think. Seeing Michelle under the sun, he certainly wasn't what most people would consider normal. Awe-inspiring, in fact. Giving birth to me, it broke my mother. No, I drove her mad. Not only do I appear inhuman, I'm oversensitive to sunlight. While a little light through the window isn't much of a problem, I can't be outside, directly under the sun for more than a couple hours. When she realized I couldn't go out to the sun, my mother started thinking I was possessed by a demon. Again, that's just, we know obviously in modern times, it's simply albinoism, I guess. It's just simply that. It's just a weird, genetic thing where, your skin doesn't produce any melanin, I guess, what you call it. So, your skin doesn't get any, shade to it, so it's all pale. And obviously that means, and actually, that's a real condition, and it's actually kind of detrimental because your eyes, for example, you can get a lot of damage in your eyes because the sun is just too strong for you in many ways. So yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. You know what? I think I remember reading an article actually in present times, in modern times, where as somebody who was born albino in a very remote village, a very remote, rural village away from civilization, definitely did experience discrimination because of their condition, because it's so rare that everybody just in general, any kind of genetic disease, I guess, will just assume that it's a devil's work, right? Especially back in those days, where everyone was very much God-fearing, God-fearing world, I guess. Anyway, so, but yeah, he has that condition, so she banished me to this mansion until my curse was broken. That was 10 years ago. Especially because no one, hair dye didn't exist back then. Maybe? I don't know. Actually, well, fabric dyes do exist. I don't know if anyone dyed their hair, though. I wonder. You could just say that, you know, or maybe even just dye your hair black. Just pretend to be normal. I don't know. But I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, 1099. Did the event dyes back then? No idea. Just because you look different from them. The family's reputation was at stake too. If other noble houses realized they were giving refuge to the unholy creature, it would destroy the Belinkers. You saw how the villagers reacted. They called me a demon when they saw me. I suspect the rumors about the mansion play a part in that. If nobody thought the house was cursed, then they wouldn't have. I'm sure you were afraid as well. You saw me and I thought I was not of this world, that I looked like a demon. I thought you looked like an angel. What? I at least thought you looked more like an angel than a demon. Never once crossed my mind that you might be evil. You're an asshole, but, you know. But I understand your situation now. Because of your appearance, you live all alone in this dark mansion. For 10 years. It was never really an inconvenience. They bring me all the supplies I need. You know what? It's actually quite a... It's not too bad. That's all I'm saying. In the grand scheme of things. But, well, I guess, obviously, he gets lonely. You big liar. Have you never considered running away? That's not an option. Because of the sun? No, I could move during the night if I really wanted to. I'm being watched. To ensure I don't leave. Watched? They can't allow anyone to find out that I'm alive, particularly at the Belinker estate. If I were to run, they were to find out, I would probably be killed. If only I didn't stand out so much, I might be able to stay outside it easier. But also, I had been holding on to a little hope, I think. Hope that I might be able to return someday. I've all but given up that hope now, though. Not that I ever had enough willpower to really fight for it. I see. You don't need to worry about pitying me either. It's long since become normal to me. That's not something that should ever become normal. So what was that really a moment ago? You don't actually have a condition that makes you argue yourself, do you? Please tell me. You don't have to believe me. In fact, I doubt you will. You're free to think I'm completely mad. Don't worry, I want to know. Is it because he's hearing voices? The witch's whisperings, maybe? I can hear the witch's voice. The witch's voice. It started when I first arrived at the mansion. No one else can hear it either. Like I said, it sounds crazy. Not at all. I said I would trust you, so I believe you. Maybe he's not well, you know? He has this condition called schizophrenia, from being alone for so long. Yeah, that has to be it. 10 years all in one place, you're bound to start hearing things. He seems like a delicate person too. Thinking about it like that, I'm starting to feel really sorry for him. Do I want to know what you're thinking? I'm here for you. Huh? I've made up my mind. I'm going to stay here with you. Wait, what? Wait, what? Don't worry. I'll shout so loud you won't be able to hear that silly witch's voice anymore. Will you now? If you hear it again, let me know, understood? You don't have to be afraid. I never said I was. Whenever you hear it, I'll be there for you, holding your hand. Well, we kind of took the extremely long route, but there you have it. Yeah, it was all just to go all the way back to the beginning. Basically, she's staying here to be his maid still. It's a pleasure to meet your acquaintance, Master. Master. Now, where should we begin? I know, supper. Are you hungry? What should I make? You see, this is all part of a grand plan. You know, just how actually planned all of this. Just for him to open up. You know, this is all from the very beginning. Slow down, please. What is it? If there's something you like, I'm happy to accommodate. You actually intend to stay here. Again. Again. After what happened last time? It's not a very good idea, don't you know? If someone abuses you during a relationship, you shouldn't stay with them. Because of what happened. Because of that, we were finally able to see each other, pass each other's surface. Well, as long as Michelle doesn't lock her up in a shack in the garden, I guess I'll forgive him, you know. As long as he doesn't do that. I wanted to try again from the beginning, and this time actually try to be considerate of one another's feelings. That's a promise, Master. Alright. I can stay here, right? I don't mind. I'm glad to hear it. Say. Yes, Master? If you ever want something from me, could I please ask you to put it into words? I don't have much faith in my ability to pick up on things. Got it. Then here's something to start with. What do you say we open some of these windows? Open the windows. Yeah, we don't have to, you think it will cause you problems, but it'd be nice to get a little light in here. I'd like to put an end to this house being a dark, closed-off cave. I wasn't the one who barred the windows. You weren't? They were like that when I arrived. Yeah, he said that, I remember him saying that in the other story. Made it seem like a very appropriate place to lock me away. While I am sensitive to light, yes, as I mentioned, a little sun through the windows shouldn't cause any problems. Alright then, can I ask you to help me open them? Let's both lighten this place up. Alright, well. After a few moments of silence, Michelle gave me a curt nod. While we couldn't do anything about the windows having boarded up, the two of us first opened the ones that were just covered by rusted-over shutters. When we got the first one open, a beautiful stream of light like nothing I ever seen before. Flooded into the dark mansion's halls. I assumed that spring would never come. All we had to do was talk to each other, listen to each other, and everything else would fall into place. I guess this is, before all of that, just communicate. It's that easy. But it was that first step that was so hard, so much harder than either of us had expected. And now that the ice was melting, we had to treasure that. It might not have seemed like much to someone else, but to us, it was a huge accomplishment. This time, it'll all work out. It has to. They can't just, add a bunch of tragedy and conflict again. They can't just do it again. Will they? Probably. I had all the confidence in the world when we were together, but now that I'm alone in the dark, in the absolute silence of the night, I'm starting to get anxious again. I'm starting to feel like something bad is going to something bad's going to happen, eh? I have a bad feeling about this. Like I'm going to mess something up again. We took a big step today, and I know I have to keep it together to keep thinking positive. The goods you're after, Giselle, are not cheap, understand? Ooh. Thus save the Lord of hosts, the woman have committed 3 sins. She has lied, she has stolen, she has betrayed her fellow man. It's alright. It's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of, Giselle. Whatever happens, you have to hold fast to your faith in the goodness of others. You have no reason to tremble. It's already happened twice. You know what they say about the rule of 3? Anyway. Yes, come in. That's odd. I don't think I was hearing things. There's no one there. What's that about? Oh? Glass? It's wine. It's so warm. I guess he heated it on the fire for me. Oh, you could have at least said hi. I have a feeling it's gonna work out. Okay, just some free wine. You heat it up, though. I'm gonna be honest, I don't drink, so I don't know. But, do you heat up wine? I thought you, chilled it, right? I assume just any kind of, usually most alcoholic beverages, you drink cold, right? Not heated up. Maybe some, I don't know. No idea. I know, was it vodka, I think? Vodka makes you feel heated up. It's not actually, though. It just makes you feel that way. The light shining through the windows is swallowed whole by the darkness, as if to say our time together never actually existed. We saw it, though. Together, we watched the light crack open the darkness. I beg you, please remember. Please find yourself. Please, Giselle. Don't let the things you felt, the warmth that fell over us, remain lost to you. I might have seen it. Seen that most beautiful light. Giselle. But are these truly my memories? Could they not be someone else's tale, like all the others we have seen so far? She was so bright and energetic, and I'm neither of those. Besides, the maid needs not a tale of her own. This is not a story. These are memories. Mine and your memories, no one else's. It was all very much real, as were the kinder, happier days that came next. Kinder, happier days. Those words create a strange warmness within my chest. But at the same time, they make me undescribably anxious. Is there really happiness to be found down that road? Even if our past doesn't lead to happiness, it could be worse than where we are now. Giselle. To the spring that made us more than just strangers. You know, actually, I'm thinking, okay, so like in ending one, remember ending one, it really did seem like, oh, there's a white-haired girl looking for Michelle. But the reason why Michelle was saying to himself, like, I didn't do it this time, so I guess I have to, get run over by a car, I guess, to do it again. I think it's him, because I think he knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to bring Giselle back, I guess. This Giselle, not the other Giselle, which is like we thought was the Giselle, but wasn't, I guess, if that makes sense. So that's what he was mumbling about to himself, because he remembers, and so he, I guess, I don't know how it works, but like, I guess he kills himself to go back to the mansion to try again, to convince the maid that she is Giselle and, end up together, I guess we'll see. And who is the white-haired girl then in that case? I'm not sure. Who is the white-haired girl? A complete fabrication, or Morgana, maybe? I don't know. Master, come on, get up. Up with you. Master. Okay, this is the scene we saw before, actually. When we explore the mansion, I guess. What? See, what did I tell you? It's so much nicer in here with a little light. Morning. Oh, wait a second. Don't you hide under your bread spread. Get out of there. I also said bread spread. I said bread spread last time as well, I think. Bread spread? No, bed spread. I'm fine with my room staying dark. What was she even doing in here? Oh, but Master, you agreed that I could open the windows. I did, yes. Don't worry, I put curtains up. If it gets too bright, you can draw them. Mornings take the best parts of being outside and squeeze them all into the same few hours. Actually, I am confused, actually. It's funny how Giselle, it's all about Giselle remembering things. My own memory is also befuddled, I guess. But was she always wearing that dress? Because I thought that was the dress from the village. That maybe she was always wearing the dress. I just, because in my mind, I'm thinking about the maid, I guess. I just assumed that she was in the maid costume in the beginning, but then maybe she wasn't? My memories are just so blurry, so muddled. Anyway. But yeah, she says that. You don't have to go outside the silent for it either. Just listen to all the wonderful sounds. The joyous songs of the birds, the swaying of the trees, the rustling of the leaves. Am I being as pushy as I feel right now? I know. But you wouldn't be you if you weren't. So for now, I won't get on you about it. Also, now that I know your real intentions... No, never mind. I completely misjudged you. You're the exact opposite of what I thought you were. What did you think of me? Let's see. I thought you were cold and cruel, heartless and incomprehensible. But I'm beginning to get a better idea. You try to put on airs, but you're really rather childish. Have a short temper, but can be surprisingly playful. What else? You have a pretty difficult personality, too. There's not a single good trait on that list. Now, hear me out here. That's not everything. You gave me a chance to talk, and you listened intently. You can be kind of nice, too. We agreed that we would live together, not just in the same house, so we've got plenty of time to add more to the list. And I hope you can make your own list about me, too. This is just the beginning, after all. Got a long, long time ahead of us. Well, I'm looking at my Steam playtime. It's about... Well, actually, it did increase, actually. It's still, I guess, once I stop the game, does it increase the hours? But I guess it's been about 20, right? 23 hours? 24 hours so far? 23, 22? And it's still, they're saying, oh, it's still the beginning. I don't know about that. Because I don't know. I mean, there's still more, I guess, but I don't know if it's like the very beginning because I've already went through a lot. Late enough to get to know each other now. Let's not waste any time then. What do you say we do something today that we haven't been able to do before? Where should we begin? Ooh, I know. We can get this place cleaned up. You want to clean. Now that there's some actual light in here, we can see all sorts of things you'd probably rather know. Yeah, that's what happens when you open the window in the morning, you see a lot of dust floating around. See the dust like reflecting the sunlight. Like dust all over the place. My vision was still slightly unfocused, having not completely escaped from Morpheus's embrace, but I could see well enough to catch her smiling brightly. That was the first time I got a good look at her in the light. I could see the facial features I had missed during yesterday's commotion, and those glittering eyes. Not even a trace of those tribulations she endured tainted her pure jaded eyes. Or jade eyes, not jaded eyes, jade eyes. She's surprisingly good looking. I'm clearly not myself right now. Something the matter, Master? I know. You're so half asleep, aren't you? I guess I'm just gonna throw my best bucket of water on you. What is the best bucket of water? I'm awake, I'm awake. Is there something in my face then? It's far too amusing a sight to wake up to. Amusing? Oh, just get out of bed already. What a noisy morning. I got my first decent look at Michelle's face under the light that morning, watching him stifle a yawn as he crawled out of bed. All the little details I had been able to pick up in the darkness, his expressions, mannerisms, and the way he looked at me. I could see facial features I missed during yesterday's commotion, and those vivid, all-consuming red eyes. Saying a very similar thing about him, I guess, that he said about her. I was probably, no, almost certainly making a really dumb face at him. Is it just me, or is he kind of, no, very pretty? He's like a bee shonen? How could I have not noticed until now? Oh geez, wow, I can't look him in the eyes. Yes? What can I do for you? Is there something in my face as well? No, Huh? Hair monster. He doesn't need a haircut. Somehow he keeps his bangs, you know, trim, but otherwise, I guess he has a lot of hair. Excuse me. No, your hair, it's really long. Yes, that's it, way too long. Oh, is that any way for a servant to speak of her speak to her master? I'm just kidding. I don't have any interest in holding your status against you anymore. I see. It's really hard to tell if he's joking or not. He's that kind of person. I mean, since the beginning, I guess. So about that cleaning. May I wash my face first? What? You're going to help? As I just said, I'm not going to act like I'm superior to you anymore. What are you sneaking about? I can't help it, I'm happy. If my hair really does bother you, you can cut it. I can cut it. Of course, I'll give you the best haircut you ever had. Oh, but I should warn you, you have to stay perfectly still. I'm a monster with a pair of scissors. My sister always said you were as likely to lose an ear as you were your hair wherever I cut it. You stay away from me in that case. Don't cut my hair, please. It's gonna be like a bowl cut. Who knows what's gonna happen. I was shocked at how much more comfortable I felt around her only one day following our opening up to each other. Maybe this was normal, and I simply never felt it before. I didn't know. I thought it would take years of work to get close enough to someone to be able to have a conversation without picking apart every little detail. Well, you see this, you know, in any kind of romance story, they kind of like fast forward really quickly, because otherwise it'd be very boring if they literally took years to warm up to each other in any kind of story. But anyway, but here I was a day later, already there. I mean, it's what happens a lot. I mean, the romance is also very like melodramatic. You know, there's always like a lot of things that happen and a lot of tension and release. So obviously, the characters get to know each other very quickly, very rapidly because of that, I guess. Usually involving life-threatening situations. I always see like any kind of like story, you know. Sometimes not even romance, but like characters just get close to each other because they go through a very harrowing experience. I wonder how that's true in real life, though. You know, I just don't know. Like most people, I imagine most people don't go through like very dramatic events all that often, or if ever in their lives. Do you actually get close to each other in that case, and like, does that actually create a long-lasting relationship? I wonder. Because if it's just that, then maybe, but you don't actually, you know, are actually compatible. Especially like a romantic relationship, does it actually last all that long? I don't know. Anyway, was that how it usually worked? At least in fiction, anyway. Did people normally get close and draw apart so freely? I didn't find it unpleasant to have someone else around. It was a strange feeling. All of that friction had dissipated in an instant. It was like we had known each other for years. Though not entirely willingly, we began sharing meals, something I always done by myself. Hey, I see you shoving aside that parsnip. You need to eat everything. Do you have any idea why there is so much rotting parsnip in the cellar? I don't care for it. You could at least pretend to be ashamed. Eesh, you're not a kid, so don't be so picky. You gotta eat your veggies, come on. Parsnip. It's not good for you. Hasn't caused any problem thus far. It will soon enough. Huh, I believe you. We have limited supplies, and you won't eat your vegetables. Ooh, question. I got an idea. Go on. Is the list of supplies set by your family set in stone? Meaning? I was just wondering if it was possible to make requests. If I could, I would just go out on a shopping trip. Perish the thought. The only village around here is the one you came from. Right, don't want to go back there. Say, are you saying that I'm concerned for... Who would ever be concerned about you? I just want to be able to sleep well at night. I'm not interested in throwing more service to the lions. You know, you're a whole lot simpler of a person than I first thought. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nothing. As it turns out, you're just synthetic. Back to your question about delivery. Yes, you can. I haven't made any requests recently, but you can write what you want on a sheet of parchment. If we don't have any, or if we don't have any something similar, put it in the box and leave it outside. As long as your request is not completely unreasonable, it should arrive in the next package. Why? Is there something you need? Yes, I was hoping to increase our selection of vegetables. While I'm at it, if possible. Actually, well, it's a secret. A secret? It's nothing too exciting. I'll tell you when the time is right. Okay. I get you veggies. You know, I wonder actually, in 1099, you know, in the year where this story is taking place, do people actually know about diets? You know, like, is it like common? Was the food pyramid? Did that exist back then? I don't know. Though apparently the food pyramid, as far as I know, the one you always taught in school is also kind of like wrong. You know how they say, yeah, like, oh, you gotta eat this thing, you gotta eat like this proportion of stuff. You know how like grain products, at least when I would learn it in school, grain products were like very overrepresented. You know, they just assume they eat so much bread, but actually, apparently, that food pyramid is what was like influenced, obviously, by people, you know, who sell that certain type of food, like milk, for example, as well. So it's actually not super reliable in terms of an actual healthy diet, it seems. So what do you follow? I don't know, you know, but I guess they knew. I guess Giselle knows. You gotta eat your veggies, though. My relationship with Michelle gradually transitioned from master and servant to something closer to friends. He was still my master, but he allowed me almost complete freedom. He didn't order me around either. He even gave me a hand with my work. Though he was still not very talkative and oftentimes hard to read, he at least seemed to be making an effort to close the gap. He would on occasion tell me about himself, though not in much detail, and any time his family came up, he grimaced uncomfortably. Apparently, his father had wanted him dead. His brothers, though, had worked to create a scenario which he could live, faking his death and sending him to this remote mansion. I had never encountered Michelle's brothers while at his family's estate, but assuming he was right and it was one of them who had given me that letter, they were likely our allies at the house, or only allies at the house. I don't know what he was thinking. It's been 10 years, Michelle had muttered. To which I replied, have faith. It was better to believe in something, even if it felt silly and unreasonable, than to lose faith in everything. My being able to find renewed belief in the kindness of people was what allowed me to start smiling again. After all, because I was able to have that faith, I was able to enjoy life once more. It wasn't an exciting or thrilling life. It was a humble, simple one with just the two of us. But I wouldn't trade that life for anything. Some people might think it dull or dreary, but it was ours. Again, I said before, but it's actually very convenient. Just living in your house is a very nice mansion, and people send you food every month. Not that bad, let me be honest. People have it worse. Anyway. Master, I really truly appreciate what you want to help, that you want to help the cooking. I do, honestly, but this is apocalyptic. This is mutinous. This is an affront to gastronomy. This is unearthly disgusting. Get me better ingredients. What? I'm not a bad cook. These are simply bad ingredients. If they were better, they would just taste just fine boiled. It's not as bad as you claim. Besides, you make a mockery of the culinary arts. Been eating this for years. I don't see the problem. I've heard quite enough, Master. It sounds like I'm going to put your taste buds through some intense rehabilitation. It's always that word, certain words. Rehabilitation. Rehabilitation. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Rehabilitation. Rehabilitation. I say it right, then I can't say it again. Anyway, whatever. I have to teach him what real foods taste like. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to appreciate it by making something really good. Hold the chair steady for me, will you? I'm going to wipe down the top shelf. I can handle it. I'm tall enough to reach without standing on the chair. It's not as simple as just running a rag over it. I've got practice, so let me take care of it, alright? There's a lot more dust than I expected. I probably should have used something to cover my mouth. I don't want to hold your breath for this, Master. Alright, here goes! She's quite practiced. Is there any need for me to hold holding the chair? Achoo! Whoa! Hold the chair! Ow! I'm so sorry. I didn't think there'd be that much dust. Thank you for holding the... Master. Your hand is, What? Your hand is, It's on my chest. That's such a... Oh my god, such an anime thing that happened. Oh no, it was an accident. It's such an anime trope. Right, it was. It's fine, really. It was my fault anyway. It's completely, totally fine. Can't even look at her in the eyes. Could this be any more painfully awkward? And especially her backstory, though. Again, it's like a typical comedy romance thing that happened. But also, if you consider what happened to her in the past, this is actually very awkward. So don't worry about it, Master. Honestly, I should be apologizing for subjecting you to that. That's easier said than done. There's something about the stifling awkwardness. For one, it was only for a moment. I barely even realized what it was, but that's not the issue. I need some clever way to brush all this aside. Something witty, something that tells her that I'm not bothered at all. I'm not concerned. In fact, I saw no reason to be concerned at all. It felt like I was squeezing an obese rat. I hardly even perceived it as a breast. Huh? An obese rat. An obese rat. What? How utterly insensitive can you be? I'm gonna rip every last hair off your head. Leave my hair out. And thus, he became bald. His hair got shaved. No. Hey, Master. What did you do all this time all by yourself? That's an exceedingly vague question. Say when you were really, really stupidly bored out of your mind, what did you do to keep yourself occupied? Meditate? Just how many times have you reached enlightenment? I sometimes play chess, too. Chess? Wait, by yourself? Yes, I imagine how an opponent might react to my moves and play the other side that way. It's kind of depressing to think about. It's common though. It's actually what you do. To get good at chess, at least for, for people who are good at chess, they can actually do that. How for this, master? Play a game against me. Do you know the rules? Yes, the pawns, they go like one space up, with 2 spaces in the beginning, and the queen go everywhere, and the bishops are diagonal, the rooks are straight ahead, like a cross, and the horses have a weird like L-shaped jump thing, right? Is that how you do it? Anyway. You bet I do. I do come from a family of merchants, so I keep up with the trends and know all sorts of games. Oh. Prepare to meet your maker. So, who was I supposed to prepare to meet again? Come on, have a little mercy, you trounced me. One more time, I just wasn't at the top of my game. But pawn to e4, no? I don't know anything about chess. Or at least, like high-level chess anyway. I know how, how the pieces move, otherwise. Whenever I played chess back in high school, you just did whatever. Nobody really knew how to play. Really, we just like moved the pieces, and somehow someone wins. When am I going to meet this maker? What? How? When did you put me in checkmate? One more. Hold on, that's not fair. Take it back. Ah, my king. And that's how you lose the game. You lose the king. Play stop. He's Michelle is a pro gamer, by the way. He's very good at chess, as it turns out. Amateur. Can't you go a little bit easy? You never asked me to go easy. This isn't a game, this is a slaughter. This is a one-sided massacre. About this maker. Looking right at him. It was actually kind of fun. No, it wasn't. It was miserable. Next time I'll play something fair. I'll play like, well, I don't know, checkers. Checkers or like Connect 4. Such as. Let's see. Oh, I know. Arm wrestling. Huh? Arm wrestling. Yeah, you sit across from each other, put your elbow on the table, grab hands, and see who can pin another down. Who would ever willingly participate in such a primitive competition? Not interested then, or you're afraid you might lose? Alright then. I can imagine losing to a woman. He's saying that. But he's definitely going to lose. Okay, elbow on the table. Start my count. Ready, go! Victory! So, obviously, yeah. I saw that from a mile away. I guess, Michelle isn't really like a bodybuilder type. I guess all that time in solitude, he never once did a push-up, I guess. Yeah, happy times, I guess, more montages, I guess. No dialogue, but we just assume that they have fun, they have conversation, talk to each other, play some games, get close to each other, and everything. Very happy, isn't it? Only a matter of time until things get worse. Guess we'll see.